Hello and welcome to this video on the Oxford Rail Mk3a coach. I know that some people with them have reported quality problems with the couplings failing, so this is a look inside the coach to show why the failures happen. I'll also point out one of the ways I've used to prevent the failure. So here we have a blue-grey trailer standard open TSO that has failed at both ends, and actually for different reasons. The first thing I need to do is remove the body. Part of the detail on these coaches is the cabling, and there are cables at each end of the body to the chassis. These need to be pulled out before you can separate the body from the chassis. Separating the body is just a matter of getting your nails in and prising the body out a bit over the lugs. You'll notice that the seating moulding on this one has stayed in the body, and that is related to one of the problems, but more on that later. The seating moulding is held on by 3 little screws that need to be taken off, and then that exposes the chassis and the coupling mechanism. So the coupling is an NEM socket with wings on the top. The wings sit on this recess in the chassis, and a spring attaches to the back to pull the coupling straight. At the very front tip of the wings there is a little tiny knob on the plastic that slides along the front edges of the recess. What you can see going on here is the coach attached to another and being moved back and forth, and also rotated like it would be on a corner. This shows how the coupling operates. You can see that the full force of the coupling is transferred through the little winged piece, and also how the winged piece slides around in the recess. As you can see, at the moment there is nothing above the coupling to hold it in place. It is being held because I've attached it to the other coach by means of a fixed drawbar. If there was a standard tension lock coupling there instead, the winged piece would just pop out. When the body is on, the winged piece is actually held in place by the moulding for the seating that is screwed to the chassis above it. But as we noted earlier, the seating wasn't properly attached when we opened the coach up. At the end of each coach there is a little hole for the screw, and if you notice on this picture, the screw hole has been drilled off centre and is missing a bit of its edge. That means that the screw is nothing to grab against, and the seating moulding isn't going to stay down. That in turn allows the back of the winged piece to raise up out of the recess, and so the coupling drops. If you wish to repair this, the solution is to use a little modelling putty around the hole to give the screw something to grab into. The second problem I came across was the spring at the back of the winged piece coming loose. Now, I can't get the camera to show this in enough detail because the hook that the spring goes over on the chassis is so small, and that is the problem with the hook. It is too small for the machinery used to create the chassis moulding, and none of the ones I've seen have been particularly well formed. The hook should be a backwards, upside down L. There tends to be excess flashing on the sides and bottom of the hook, so the loop of the spring doesn't go fully over. It seems to be luck as to whether you get one capable of holding the spring. If you have a sharp enough knife with a decent point, you might be able to remove some of the flashing, or push the loop of the spring far enough round the hook that it stays on. On this particular coach, the hook was so badly formed I had to glue in a piece of metal to form the hook. The final problem I've come across only once. That is the winged piece breaking. As you could see earlier, the full force of the coupling is transmitted through this small piece of plastic. If that coach was part of a large rake, then there would be much more weight and much more force being put on that thin bit of plastic. The little knob on the tip of the wing piece seems to be the weak spot with standard couplings, especially if you're running them in a push-pull type train. If that breaks, then the coupling could also fall. The winged piece is difficult to repair because the plastic is so thin. If this is the case, it may be better to plate over the hole and install a KD coupling to the underside. My only solution so far is to use a fixed drawbar between the coaches. You can either use the Bachmann intercoach cabling that looks like cables drooping between the two coaches, or you can use a straight fixed drawbar. I've used one from a Bachmann Class 411. These can be bought in a pack. The advantage of this is that the couplings are held horizontally by the bar and cannot drop. It seems to give a reliable operation in push as well as pull, and I've not had any problem with one fitted like this. The disadvantage is that the rake then becomes semi-permanently fixed together, and it would be easy to break the coupling when separating them. In this part of the video you can see me modifying the Class 411 drawbar ready to fit. The first thing is there are two copper contacts running through the bar. If you leave these in, the bars won't plug into the coach's NEM socket. To remove the copper contacts, you need to separate the drawbar. I just got a nail in and it came apart. Remove the contacts, then line up the three prongs on the top part with the holes on the bottom and press them together. There can be a little excess flashing on the plastic, so I take a file over quickly and lightly to remove it, so that it is less likely to break the coupling when you try to connect or disconnect the coaches. If your coach is still under warranty, then I would return it to the retailer and get a refund or get them to repair or replace it. But if not, then hopefully this has given you some pointers as to how to fix it. Thank you for watching.